Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stogie Geeks Show. This is your host, Paul Asadorian, reminding everyone to visit StogieGeeks.com for all the latest shows, interviews, Stogies of the Week. We get the Stogies feed with over 600 cigar mini reviews. I also want to remind you to visit our sponsors. That's right, Havana Cigar Club right here in Warwick, Rhode Island. You can get a $5 off coupon, good for $5 off a drink and a cigar. And that's on our website. You can print that off. And also the J. Grotto series of cigars, OceanStateCigars.com. We've got some contests coming up where a lucky person has won a line sampler, which I don't know if Stogie Santa remembers giving that away in the show, but you did. It was really funny listening. I had to go back and listen. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Responsibility for that, he said.
Yes. I got it all together, and he shot me the address. So.
Before we get started, special thanks to all of our listeners, new listeners, and live stream chat participants on Cigar Federation, cigarfederation.com. Check out all the shows out there. Will and I were on the Cigar Chat. Did I say that right? Cigar Chat?
Yes.
Cigar Chat podcast. Thank you. Last week, props to Logan and all the folks there on the Cigar Chat podcast. Many of them are in the chat room now, in addition to some of our regular listeners. Big Pete, props to Big Pete. And ATL, I believe, ATL is there as well. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I have to say, I've interviewed well over 100 people in my 8+ years of podcasting, and that was one of the most unique interviews I've ever done.
What did I say to you on the phone today?
I didn't believe you. I was dude, I've interviewed tons of people. I'm prepared for anything. I wasn't prepared for that.
I'll tell you what. I'll never forget the time when we went into the bar and we put out an order. He ordered for us the drinks. The girl left, and she had tears running down her face. She had no idea what that was all about. Hey, Carrie.
For our new listeners and viewers of the Cigar Federation, yeah, that was probably a one-of-a-kind experience.
I had to ask him the 5 questions because I knew he's such an interesting and unique guy. I knew the answers would just be like mayonnaise.
And then show us that's what it is.
That's going to be one for the Stogie Geeks history.
Yeah, that was awesome. Okay, Will, and now we're going to do a segment about what we've been smoking.
Before we do the reveal.
You know what? That's a good point, Stogie Santa. First, we're going to do the reveal on the unbanded cigar number 1.
Before we do that, though, I'm going to tell you something.
Go ahead, Stogie Santa.
This cigar started off, I had a little harshness.
It did. Harshness.
Harshness.
It's
Poppy Winkle harshness.
It's a Poppy Winkle harshness.
Yeah, but that cigar closed. Talk about the back 9 opening up.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, I got some nice flavors out of that coupe.
I did too.
It
started out with a lot of spice, and the spice dissipated for me, and it had a nice kind of toasty feel. Right after the first third was really spicy for me, and then it settled down. I enjoyed the second 2/3 a lot more than the first third. Like I said, it kind of had that toasty flavor. Maybe a little bit of like a coffee kind of chocolatey kind of flavor to it.
Sweetness off it was nice. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So before we reveal it, give me the wrapper you think is on that cigar.
San Andreas.
Okay.
I'm saying to get that much spice for me, it'd have to be Nicaraguan in my book. Some kind of Nicaraguan wrapper.
Okay. The answer is it's San Andreas. Very
good, Stogie Santa.
Okay.
I'm opening
but the filler, there's got to be some kind of Brazilian in there too. Has to be.
Has to be.
Well, to me, it tastes like it.
I'm going to say it's Costa Rican.
No, Costa Rican. No way.
No.
Nope.
All right.
Here we go.
Now you're going to need to pull out the band and the footer band.
Yeah.
All right. So I got the band and the footer band here inside of the envelope. This is cigar unbanded number 1.
Wait a minute.
From Mr. Will Cooper. Drum roll, please. The unbanded cigar for this show was a Lou Rodriguez Esteli Nicaragua Edition Premier.
I tell you, it was that last third was
Some spice.
San
very,
Andreas,
Yep.
very.
Nicaraguan binder and filler.
Oh, I could have sworn. No
Now,
kid.
I'll be honest. When I smoked it along with you guys, this threw up more spice than normal. It does throw some spice up at the beginning, but you're right. The spice held on a lot longer for whatever reason.
The first
on
third,
this one.
Yeah. Yep. Excuse me, Coop. Go ahead.
Yep, no, but that's and the flavors you guys got are pretty much spot on with that. There is no Brazilian in it; it's all Nicaraguan.
Wow, got that.
The filler and binder are from Lou's Farms. Yeah. Now Lou does make some Brazilian cigars. He does have some Brazilian wrapper cigars, but this is not one of them.
Nope. It just had that. I got like in the middle of it. I got the sweetness of it that was really what I liked a lot off it. I really did. But anyway, very good. Like I said, the first third was. Not that it was bad. I don't mean it like that. But once it tamed down, calmed down, and changed up, it was really very, 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 very good.
He has an amped up version of this, and that Mark Jr. talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It's called the Edición Reserva, and that's actually more amped up than this one. This is more slightly mellower. I don't want to say it's a mellow cigar because it's not.
No, it's not. But I'll tell you what this may not have an amping. It has a great. It's a full flavor cigar. Full flavor.
I just love the coffee notes you get.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to remind everyone that at the end of this episode, I will reveal the winners of our past 3 contests, and I will announce a new contest from which you can win 3 Oasis level cigars.
We should do it before we start drinking so we remember.
No, I got it written down. It's cool.
I got it.
Yeah.
Just a joke. Just a joke.
So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the show. We're going to reveal the winners, and there is going to be a new contest for which you will receive 3 Oasis level cigars from the Stogies.
Okay, what are we all lighting up now?
I'm lighting up Drew Estate UF13 Dark because I really like this cigar a lot. And I recently purchased quite a few of them. So I probably have pretty close to a whole box of these now. That's how much I like them. Okay. So I'm saying they're box worthy.
I guess so. How about you, Coop?
I'm going to light up the El Primer Mundo Epifania. It's a boutique cigar by Sean Williams made at the Little Havana factory in Miami.
And I just took a torch to a Padron 35.
Nothing wrong with that.
I kind of like that cigar. It's just a little
Can't
bit.
go wrong with that. All right, well, what have you been smoking?
Okay, so to kick things off, I've been smoking through the Ortega Wild Bunch series, and I made my way to the 9th release of it, which is called the Gearhead Gary. And there's, for folks, by the way, just before I kind of get into that, for folks who are new from Cigar Federation, check out our Stogie feed on StogieGeeks.com. And what we do is, one of the things we do is we talk about the cigars, and we do a short write-up on what we've smoked. So it's kind of a unique feature we bring, and we put pictures of the cigars as well as a very brief write-up of it. And you'll see the pictures and everything on the website with that. So have a picture of the Gearhead Gary. It's actually called the Crankshaft is the name of the Vitola. And for folks who've smoked Ortega Wild Bunches, they're named after a bunch of people that Eddie Ortega has met in the cigar industry, and just people he's encountered, and he's kind of made tribute cigars to them. Now, this is the first non-Parejo that's in the series. So this is the first Torpedo he's released in here. It's got a Habano Ecuador wrapper, and it's got Nicaraguan filler there. And I just lost my notes, so I'm just going to have to wing this real quick.
No problem.
What it is, what I'll say about this particular cigar is it's the Ortegas have all been kind of unique cigars, and I think every cigar's brought something different to the table. They're not really cookie cutters by any means. They almost seem like they're experimental cigars that Eddie's been kind of just playing with. And I'll say this about the Gearhead Gary. It's no exception to the matter with that one. I found this one to be more of a milder release compared to some of the other Ortega Wild Bunches. So, I'd say most of them have been in the medium to full range. This one's kind of on the low end of medium, so to speak. It's got some interesting flavors, and some of the interesting flavors are herbs. It's got this herbal spice in there and a little bit of licorice sweetness in there. Overall, I think there's some good flavors. I wish there was a little more body on this cigar. In fact, it starts out kind of mild to medium body before going to medium body, and I wish it just had a little more depth with there. But in terms of this cigar, it's still worth a $5 because it's something different, and it's just something you'll reach for that you're not going to find anywhere else. And for Torpedo, it smoked very well. So I'm not the biggest Torpedo fan. So this cigar definitely worth getting 5 in and putting them in your humidor.
Excellent. So let's see. First up on my list, I'm going to bring it up here. I did some mini reviews. I guess I'll go through those first. This was kind of like 4 or 5 random cigars that I smoked. I did the San Latano Connecticut. This was a Toro. It's not my favorite Connecticut, but it's not bad either. The flavors didn't really wow me. I thought the flavors in the first third were really, really good. But the rest of the cigar kind of flattened out for me. I'm saying try one to see if you like them. By no means was this a bad Connecticut, but it wasn't the one I think I'd reach for all the time.
Hey, Paul,
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you on that?
Yeah.
So this is a cigar. I happen to like this particular cigar, and it's not so much that I'm going to argue because everyone's different in terms of their taste. But I found that to be a different Connecticut in terms of I found that to have a little more pop than most Connecticut's, and I'm just kind of wondering if you got that. Out of that.
There was a lot more pop, especially in that first third. It was a little more strength than most Connecticut's, and it had some interesting, complex flavors in that first third.
Yeah,
which caught my attention, and I wish those had kept up through the rest of the cigar.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it when it first came out, and it's been a while since I've revisited it. In fact, I really enjoyed that cigar when it was first released in 2010. But I said when I had it, I almost thought it was the beginning of that wave where we started seeing some of these more amped up Connecticut's come out. That was one of the earlier ones that really did that.
And I smoked a lot of Connecticut's.
I'm
this
just
week.
not a huge Connecticut fan of his.
And I was thinking about it, not to diverge too much, but I was thinking about it. A Connecticut's something that I reach for in the morning with coffee. It's not something that I'm like, wow, I got to have a whole box of these in my humidor, and I'm going to sit back with, a nice glass of scotch or something and really enjoy. It's kind of one of those things that's really limited to just like morning smoking. It kind of gets you by in the morning hours. It's not something that really has all that dynamic stuff going on that you would pick up flavors with the scotch and stuff, you know what I mean? And I think that's really the disconnect with Connecticut's. But I've been searching for something that gives me a great experience with coffee in the morning. So I'll talk about a lot that I did in the morning. Don Pepin Garcia Cuban Classic Robusto. Lots of people love the cigar. It really just wasn't in my wheelhouse. I'm giving it a try one to see if it fits your flavor profile. To me, I was kind of hoping for a little more flavors there, but in a way, I could kind of see some of the appeal from it. And I will try another one to kind of see where I'm at with it, because so many people have spoken so many great things about this cigar. Right. My first one that I've tried in a long time wasn't in my wheelhouse. The Illusione MK Ultra. This was a smaller size, maybe the Robusto-ish size. Right. I liked this one a lot when it first came out. It's still a solid $5. It seems to have lost some with age.
I'm going to have to revisit that one.
Revisit that one. I thought it lost a little with age. I thought that when they first came out, they were a lot better, had a lot more dynamic flavor. The other one on kind of my quick short list is...
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead.
Paul, let me interrupt again. That MK Ultra, was that the original release, or was it the new batch that's been released this year?
That's the original. No, the one that you smoked was a new batch.
Well, I got it from you last year?
Week? No.
This one I've had in my humidor for a year.
Right,
okay, so that's one of the original.
That's an original.
I had one of the originals.
The new release is in.
I want to try the new release then.
I like the new release. I really do.
Yeah. I smoked a honey and hand grenades. I'm not sure which size it was. It was not the smallest size, but not the largest.
Does it really matter?
It doesn't, because construction is tough on these. When they deliver with flavor, they can be really well balanced and very sweet, coupled with a nice touch of spice. But for me, it's the construction that's just wonky on these.
I find it even inconsistent on the flavors.
Yeah, I'm saying $5 because this one was actually pretty good in terms of flavor profile for me.
Why was it a $5?
Because of the price I got it at on closeout. So it's a great point. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Here's one that caught me by total surprise. And if I'm saying this wrong, Coop, please correct me. The Brun Del Rey, is that a
Brun Del Rey?
Brun Del Rey, yeah. The wrap was Ecuadorian, Indonesia Indonesia on the binder, and a filler was Nicaraguan and Costa Rican. I was taken back. I look at this cigar and I wasn't expecting much. I really enjoyed this cigar. I really did.
You pinged me on that one, and that was the red banded one.
That was the gold one.
Gold one, the gold one. Okay, so
right.
it was the gold banded one. Okay,
the gold band. The Costa Rican flavor on that was really. With a black cup of coffee, I really enjoyed it. I got some really nice mellow creaminess to it, and at first I thought I picked up a little bit of almost like a grassiness off it, but I don't know if I would go that far. Then I got almost like a tea flavor off it. I really enjoyed it. I really did. I didn't expect this at all. Caught me by surprise. It really did. It was a Robusto that you sent up, Coop.
Yep.
I don't know what the MSRPs are on these particular sticks, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to call this at almost a $5. Almost. Not quite, but it's better than the Angler. I really do. For a morning smoke. What did you like it, Coop?
I liked it, and just for folks who don't know this brand, Bruno Rey, they're not a brand that's found in the U.S. They're starting to make a presence in the U.S. market right now, and I actually met with them, and they were very kind to give us some samples of several blends, and I think we'll be featuring them over the next few weeks. I was very impressed with what these guys had. I mean, these cigars were good, and they're available in Europe, and apparently they're popular. So, this is something maybe to just keep an eye out over the next few months as they start to make their way in the U.S. market. It
was the construction on it was impeccable. The draw was everything I wanted it to be, and probably one of my most surprising smokes of the week because I didn't expect much because I didn't know much about it, and I love that. I really do when it delivers like that. It was really good. Anyway, next.
Over to you, Will.
Okay, and we were talking about this one right before the show, and it's kind of a good segue. We were just talking about the MK Ultra, but I smoked the Surrogate's Animal Cracker again, and I say again because when I first had this cigar, it kind of really threw me for a loop with the amount of strength it was throwing at me, and I found it to actually tame down a bit. Now the blend on this thing is a Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and filler, and it's 6x60. And in terms of this cigar, when I smoked it a few months ago, and the first time I had it was in Chattanooga in August, I would say on a 1 to 10 scale with the strength, it was a 10. I mean, it was probably one of the strongest cigars. I was with another guy who was a big guy. We were both going into. I mean, we were both thrown for a loop. I mean, it was strong. I had it.
Sorry,
that's okay. I had it this past Sunday, and I'd say now the strength is down to about an 8 out of 10. So it's still got some strength. I'm not saying but there was a significant mellowing of the nicotine level. The flavors are pretty much herbs, some coffee, black pepper, and a little cherry sweetness. There's still a big difference between strength and body. So I didn't find this cigar had a lot of depth with the flavors. I didn't find it transitioned a lot. It's a medium-bodied cigar with full strength in my book. But I did like the fact it tamed down a bit because this was probably a try one originally, and now I'm kind of would maybe go. I'm leaning towards a $5 on this right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards it right now. If I don't want to split hairs, but if I can go in between, I kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt because I'm pretty impressed with what Casey and his team have done with the line. So I'm giving it. So I'm in the $5 just I want to see what this is going to do over the next few months some more.
Oh, this is so good.
What, the bourbon?
Yes.
We should take 30 seconds and just talk about Pappy Van Winkle, which is the
20-year we got here. And
it's kind of like the quintessential bourbon. I think really the appeal for the Pappy Van Winkle is like cigars. They come out with limited kind of releases. And also, it's an interesting limited release because from what I found drinking it this time around, I ended up with a bottle of the 20-year and the bottle of the 15-year. For the price, it blows away a lot of other scotches and bourbon. I mean, bourbon's hands down blows away any bourbon in that price range. Scotches, it blows away a lot of scotches in that price range. The 20 years about, depending on where you live, $140 a bottle. Mm-hmm. At that price, you'd be hard-pressed to find anything that good for that price.
I'm going to tell you something, though. Elijah Craig 21.
It's about the same price.
No, it's not.
No, it's about the same. It's like 135.
130. You're talking about the 20.
The 20.
Oh,
I'm sorry, the 20.
Right.
Yes, the 20.
I'm telling you,
That Elijah Craig's
it's got
equally as good.
great body. And then I'm going to bring over the Eagle Rare for the next one. Next for the Eagle, I love that 17. But anyway, we don't want to get too far away from that. It is pairing unbelievable with this. Oh, my God.
I smoked an interesting cigar. I pulled out of my humidor the Griffins, which I typically associate with a very, very mild, not much body, not much flavor either, kind of like smoking air kind of thing, the Griffins. But I'm like, you know what? I'm in this kind of kick of getting, smoking some of these more mild cigars. So I pulled it out, and it had the white Griffins band, as you can see in our Stogies feed picture. But it also had this other gold band, and in Roman numerals said 25.
That was the one. That was, I gave you that one.
Yeah, so I'm smoking it. Now. And I'm like, this is like no other Griffins I've ever smoked in my life. I'm like, this thing is freaking awesome. I'm like, it has body, it has flavor, it's still got some strength and spice. It turns out this is Griffin's 25th anniversary cigar from 2009, which was released in limited edition ceramic jars. It says that these Robusto cigars, when it's ceramics, the blend, I'm reading from a website which I quote here. It says the blend of this specially popular format consists of the very best tobaccos from Dominican. The special edition 2009 is especially spicy and full note through its large share of the finest Ligero tobaccos. The filler is San Vincent Seco, Piloto Ligero, Olor Ligero tobaccos. The binder is Piloto, and the wrapper is Connecticut, Ecuador. And I had no idea where I had gotten this. It's extremely smooth, nice caramel sweetness. The first 2/3 are just really amazing, very well balanced. The final third, not so much. The flavors kind of dissipated for me in the final third, but making this a solid offering. They're about $10 online. My rating was a 3.5 box split with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's the only time you'll ever get a Griffin like that because there's
I
nothing else worth it.
Now, Will, you said that you've smoked some of the later releases of the Griffin's anniversary.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember the Roman numbers.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be able to remember them at the top, but yeah, I mean I usually prefer the anniversary ones. Now this year they came out with a casino edition.
Yes,
that had 2 blends. Now I haven't had it yet, but apparently there's 21 cigars and 17 of one blend and 4 of another, and the 4 of the other are called a Joker, and there's 2 different blends on that thing. So it's something I'm looking to kind of check out, just because it just sounds interesting.
Speaking of limited releases, I should have put that in the bag. I'll do it again for Coop. I smoked it when it first came out. Remember the Avo with the piano thing there?
Yes.
The 25th?
Yeah.
The one that was like cardboard?
Yeah.
Wet cardboard.
I got them in the back. I think we got to revisit those.
You think so?
They weren't ready when I first had them.
Exactly.
You think the wet cardboard was a sign that it wasn't aged?
Well, is this the Trompetta or the 25th?
The 25th.
Okay.
Not the Trompetta, no.
No, not the Trompetta.
I remember. Okay, yeah.
The piano box, yes.
And I didn't get the wet cardboard off that. I got it young.
Mm.
But I said to myself, I looked at that in the back room today, and I'm saying,
something we got to revisit.
Yeah, we got to revisit that. Speaking, we're going to the Griffin line, not that Griffin and Avo.
But they're all the same company, right? They're all Davidoff? Is that correct?
Yeah, Davidoff.
Davidoff, yeah.
Will, back to you.
All right, so when we had Paul Joyle on, who is with our sponsor, Ocean State Cigars, I know we were talking a little about the new Monte Cristo, the Monte. And I actually have smoked a few of these over the past few weeks again, and I had one this week. It's the Monte Jacopo number 2, which is the box press torpedo. I kind of got more out of this cigar. I remember we were talking, we thought it was one-dimensional, and I've kind of really started smoking these, and in particular, this box press torpedo really was throwing up some interesting flavors. Little about the blend. It's an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It's got a double binder of Dominican Olor and Nicaraguan Corojo. And then the filler is a bunch of Dominican tobaccos. I actually was more impressed with this cigar. It was one of these cigars where if you kind of just have nothing better to do than smoke your cigar and think about it, I got more flavors than I thought. I mean, it had some cocoa and herbs and pepper and a little bit of grass flavor. the interesting thing is each time I smoked this, it was like right in the middle. I got this burst of cinnamon. I know it sounds weird, and a couple times the burst of cinnamon was very quick and went away, and other times it lasted for a few minutes. And I thought it was my mind playing games, but it was interesting enough. It was doing some more complexity than I originally thought. And it was originally a try one with me. I actually upped it to a $5. It's got a great price point for a Monte Cristo. It's under $10.
And this is how do you say that, Will?
It's the Monte, and the Vitola is the Jacopo number 2.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, I think that's right in the middle of an Epic and a Monte.
Mm-hmm.
You hit, yeah.
I really do. It caught. I'll tell you what, it was good. We brought him in.
It was better than like I said. We were talking about it when I went back and revisited. In particular, this Vitola really, really surprised me.
Yep, we did, and we had the rep in, and he gave me that, and I tell you what, it is an interesting smoke, to say the least.
I smoked. Let me just switch my camera back here. I smoked the Tatuaje 10th anniversary Belle Ancre Perfecto. Is that how you say that?
Close enough for me.
Belle Ancre Perfecto. We've talked a lot about the 10th anniversary. He decided to re-release his ever-popular Miami brown label cigar in a bunch of different sizes, packed in gold foil, shaggy foots, wet packed, shaggy foots, that whole thing. We've talked about how we think that the blend is different, even though they swear it's not. This is not your father's brown label. This is, and I've sampled quite a few from this new 10th anniversary line, and this particular Vitola does not have a shaggy foot. It's a 5 3/8 by 42 Perfecto, and it's awesome. Spice and pepper up front. It's really nice spice and pepper up front. Yeah. Settles down into just an amazing smoke, which I described as a nut and wood flavors. Yep. Very typical Tatuaje flavor profile. This is so far my favorite 10th anniversary. I've smoked 3 other sizes. And I tell you, Stogie Santa made this recommendation. He's spot on. By a landslide, it's my favorite because they don't make the brown label in this size.
No, they don't. That's an add-on, correct.
So you got to know that they tweaked the blend for this. And I tell you what, go find this size. It is box-worthy, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. This stick was fantastic. I've smoked the Noea. I've smoked the Lancero, big, Especial, the Regios. This one is the cat's meow. Let me tell you.
I enjoyed it.
Awesome smoke.
Yep. Now, go ahead. Cool. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, have you had the TAA 2013?
Yes.
I have not.
Okay, because I liked my favorite of those new sizes. That the TAA just seemed, whatever he did and tweaked that one just seemed to really be the one to grab me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I just want to know before I segue into my next smoke, has anyone did the La Palina on the Lancero?
The classic?
Yes.
I have.
And your assessment? What you think?
I'm a fan of La Palina, and I just didn't think that blend worked with the Lancero.
Interesting, because I did the Lancero, then I did the Corona. I liked the Corona. I thought it had better flavors than the Lancero. Lancero,
I agree.
There was a lot more, if you want to call it, hype, social media on that Lancero. Lancero left me high and dry. I really wasn't big on it. On this particular one, you got 5.5 by 42. I got nice coffee flavors, cedar. And at the end, I got like a nice sweetness and spice to it that I really enjoyed. I think this particular Vitola and this La Palina, I think it blew away the Lancero by far. Wasn't even the same ballpark.
I agree. I'm in agreement.
I smoked a La Palina Classic Lancero back in July, and I thought it was good. I rated it a 5, but I said it didn't blow me away. I felt like they're a little unbalanced. So I'm curious now to try the Corona. Did you say you smoked a Petite Corona or Corona?
The Corona.
Corona.
Yeah, I like the Robusto in that size too. I mean, in that blend, that was what first came out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Lancero just didn't. I mean, the Lancero was probably an angler in my book at best.
Yeah, I got to, because I did that at the show, and I did it back at home when I got back from the show, and I did it a third time And each and every time I was just underwhelmed with it completely.
Yeah.
But the Corona, I think that does. I haven't done the Robusto yet. Isn't that ironic? I've been hooked on the Corona. I really enjoy that smoke immensely. I really do. I think they did a nice job with that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, who's next?
I think it's Will.
All right. This was kind of like my revelation smoke of the week, and I smoked these a couple of times over the past few weeks, but hadn't talked about it. It's a cigar made by a boutique company called De Croisier. It's called the Diplomacy Series. It's a French name, De Croisier, but the guy who owns the company is a guy by the name of Santana Diaz, who basically is making cigars out of Costa Rica and distributing them in the U.S. The De Croisier name comes from his grandfather, who had actually emigrated over to Cuba. The blend is real interesting. It's an Ecuadorian wrapper that's this like real cinnamon color. You guys can see it on the photo. It's got a Costa Rican binder and Costa Rican and Dominican filler. This Diplomacy I smoked was a 4 7/8 by 50 Robusto. And I gotta say, this cigar was wonderful. And I've had a lot of the De Croisier cigars. This is the best one I've had. It's a lot of classic flavors of natural tobacco. It's got some white pepper, some wood notes. There's a little bit of brown sugar sweetness and lemon, and that's really what's going to kind of a little bit of lemon, and yeah. And
no, when you excuse me, just hold that thought for a minute. When you say lemon, I know it's a stupid question. You know how you got the citrus on a Cuban? I don't call that a lemon, so I never had a cigar.
Maybe maybe I'm maybe this is.
I mean, I'm splitting peas. You know what I mean? I mean citrus,
right.
Lemon. Hello.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I find lemon being more of a tart.
I find like an orange to be citrus.
It was a little bit of tartness to this.
Not so much lemon or lime.
Oh, whatever. Isn't that interesting? Go ahead. I think we're splitting teas. Go ahead. Cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, and you try to draw analogies, but I think where you hit it on the head, there was a little bit of that Cuban-esque quality to this particular cigar there.
Hello.
Yeah. All right.
There's no Cuban tobacco in there, as Matt would say.
I just go by what I research.
I'm just joking.
But I tell you what, this is a great cigar. It's box worthy. They come in boxes of 12. I don't have a price point on this. This was actually sampled to me by De Croisier, and I've had mixed results with their cigars, but this one was really one that stood out, and I think it's the perfect storm. What I like to say is the blend just seemed to work real well with this particular size.
I smoked a La Aurora 107 Maduro. I had high hopes for this smoke, It's a Connecticut broadleaf from La Aurora with the 107 blend attached to it. I mean, that's got a recipe for awesome sauce, right? This particular cigar just wasn't in my flavor profile. This was a Robusto size. And the flavors never really developed for me, and it seemed somewhat flat to me. Some people really like this cigars. Others really don't like this cigar. Maybe I missed something, but alas, I have so many other sticks to smoke that...
Which one are we talking about?
This is a La Aurora 107 Maduro. Have you guys had this one?
Yes.
What was your assessment on it? I gave it an angler. Was my assessment on it.
It's not a bad...
Oop, I just lost this.
It's probably a try one with me. The thing about La Aurora 107, I like the Maduro 107 actually better than the regular 107. Mm-hmm. That cigar, when the 107 came out, had more buzz from the online community.
Oh.
It
and
did.
I'm sorry, I just never got it. I never got it. That cigar just never did it for me. I thought the Maduro was a little bit of a step up, but the original 107 just didn't do it for me.
The 107s were very bland.
And they got more bland with age.
I think with La Aurora,
but
they were thinking Maduro. I think maybe, when they come out with something like that, it was the social buzz on that was huge. And we brought them in just to be honest with you. We brought them in just because of the buzz.
Yep.
And I think it's the public spoke on it. Excuse me. Well, they sat there. They haven't done anything.
They haven't moved in. I was just gonna say they haven't moved in Charlotte either. People who've had them, and But I mean, when there were a lot of top 10 lists back when that came out, I mean, those were high on the top 10 lists. Those weren't, these were top 3 on a lot of people's lists, and I never got it. So I didn't know if it was just me or not.
No. Well, there's 3 of us here. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just
Right.
our opinion. So I think maybe we could be on something a little bit. So.
Stogie Sandy, you got other stuff you smoked on your list?
Yeah. Did anyone do the Nika? Where is it?
Oh yeah, you smoked that last week.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you.
You didn't get a chance to really talk about it, so I'm curious to hear your assessment.
Besides the bellows of smoke when you first lit it up,
and that's an understatement. I mean, Stogie Santa filled up this workshop with smoke.
Yeah, I remember.
Studio B was just. Watch last week's video.
It's amazing,
and you can actually see. We actually put the camera on it, and it wasn't puffing on it, just holding the cigar. I mean, these UF-13s put out a lot of smoke.
Right.
But it put out twice the amount of smoke as this UF-13, if not more.
And then, like I said, everyone knows the wrap is a Connecticut broadleaf, and some people think it's part of being a T52, this, that, and as everyone knows, it's not. The binder, which is a San Andrea Negro, which is a stalk cut, and the fill is a Nicaraguan. That cigar, I'll tell you, for the price, was really, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's got some huge ratings in different spots, but I enjoyed it. It was spicy, not overly spicy. It had a nice sweetness to it. I enjoyed the smoke. It was really, really good. I thought it was a fiver, a solid fiver. Maybe I'm not on board with everybody, but I thought it was for $6.75. I mean, what haven't they put out that isn't good? Well,
it's like a Toro size cigar.
Yeah, 6x52.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, the only thing
$6.75 for Toros. I mean, that's a pretty good price.
Saying, I think the value on that cigar is really well. That could go. That maybe go box worthy for some people, and I get it. I think with Liga and not just Liga, I don't want to pick on that. With that price point, the 14, 15, and 16, everybody's hitting that. To break away from that and do that, I think that was really a great job they did. Yeah. I enjoyed the smoke. The only thing is way too chewy for me. It truly is. That's the only. I mean, if that's the only downfall of a smoke being too smoky, I guess that's not that bad.
Sometimes I get in the mood for that kind of stuff too, though.
It really was, and like I said, I took it right down. It was good. It's a buzz, and at $6.75, I think they did a phenomenal job with it. Some other people have given it some much higher ratings, and that's fine.
Will, back to you.
Yeah, let me just comment on that.
Sure.
So I was at Cigar Safari at Drew's Estate back in May, and Steve Saka gave us all a Nica Rustica. The difference was at the time when they were working on this, they were playing around with a Rustica strain of tobacco, which is it's a pretty potent tobacco, and so the one they gave us had that Rustica strain of tobacco. It had a small amount of it in there, and it was a very rough and gritty cigar, but it had a lot of flavor and it threw up a lot of smoke. Something changed between then and the trade show, because they were originally saying they were going to release that blend. They had told us it was the final blend, but when we got to the trade show, we were told that the Rustica tobacco was not in it. And I don't know, and they changed the whole branding of it to be a tribute to the people of Esteli. Johnny Brook from Georgia State said they're still working on it, but I guess they weren't happy with the way the Rustica tobacco was working. I have not smoked the new one yet, but I liked whatever they were doing with that Rustica tobacco. It was different, and it was a potent cigar, though. It was not for a lightweight.
No,
so
it's not. I didn't find it. Some people are calling it a real full body. Maybe because of my taste buds, maybe I can tolerate a little. I would call it medium. Definitely going to the fuller side. There's no doubt about it. And that's I didn't get the original release. I heard the same thing you were saying, Coop. But I tell you, it was an enjoyable smoke. And at $6.75, again, this is New England prices. It's a home run. It truly is.
How does it compare? If you had to put that and an Undercrown, which would you reach for first?
I probably say wrong person. I love the Undercrown Viva. I think that's the best thing they put out.
Oh, I agree. That's a great cigar.
That's my favorite cigar. Again, $6.99. These people, it's incredible. I mean, it truly is. That cigar I can smoke any time of the day. Isn't it funny? I can't smoke strong cigars in the morning. That's just not me, but I can smoke that in the morning because it's so smooth.
Yeah.
I just enjoy that cigar. I mean, it's a totally different blend. It truly is. The coffee flavor, the whole thing, it's really, really good. But I'll still take that Undercrown Corona Viva. That's my go-to. I'll take that over Liga. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, nothing against the Liga. Great smoke. Everybody loves it. But the Undercrown Corona Viva is, I think, in my humble opinion, is a staple of what they make.
I just want to take a moment. Was it episode 70 of the Stogie Geeks was the special one for Wounded Warriors? I want to say it was episode 70.
70?
70 or 69.
Yeah.
I think it was 70. We keep getting, as the audio hits the feed, we get people that are writing in, and someone wrote in that was from Anonymous by Choice is actually his email address, and says, as an active duty career service member, I thank you for episode 350, which was Paul.com, and episode 70 of Stogie Geeks, for your efforts to honor the military, especially the wounded and fallen. It means a lot to have support from the home front. So,
First of all, God bless him.
Yes,
Yep,
absolutely.
yep, absolutely.
And it was our honor to do that. Again, we supported the Wings for Warriors Foundation, wingsforwarriors.org.
And still go to the website and give,
please
give,
do.
give,
Yeah,
by
please
all
do.
means. But, Coop, the one that you smoked at the Safari and Undercrown Corona Viva, which one did you like?
Well, you know what? I probably still would go for the Underground Corona Viva because I've had more of them, and I know what that blend can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Corona Viva is more, like you say, it's a cigar you can have any time of the day. I think that Rustico, it's a rough cigar, and I don't mind a rough cigar once in a while, but it's probably not one I'm going to reach for all the time.
Right. It's just, and like I said, they're at the store, and rightfully so, flying off the shelf.
And it's good that, I think it's going to be good that they have a core line in that price range. It's really going to help Drew Estate.
And the whole thing is, what a lot of people...
Will, your video's frozen, by the way.
A lot of people think this is a limited. It's not, and that's the best part about it. It's going to be it's going to start trickling out more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Our initial order was on the smaller side, but they'll be there. And like I said, everyone who's out there hammering at Drew Estates saying the league is expensive and blah 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 blah. Guess what? They stepped up to the plate. They swung and they hit a home run. They did a great job.
So what would you guys say if I said I smoked a Connecticut that was 3 years old and it was still freaking good?
Davidoff.
No.
Macanudo?
Well, then now they're Davidoff. This is a Camacho Connecticut Toro. No, this is a Toro. Now I still rated it a 5er because I think the 1118 is box worthy. I think the Toro is a 5er. But this one was 3 years old, and I was kind of hesitant because I bought way too many Camacho Connecticut. I went on like a Camacho Connecticut buy-in spree 3 years ago. I went on a Camacho Connecticut buy-in spree, and I bought all different sizes. So I pulled out one of these Toros, and we've talked about this blend, but with this age, I wanted to see if it held up, and it did. It was smooth. There was a touch of sweetness. It did the trick first thing in the morning. A solid Connecticut offering. That 1118 is still a box worthy in my book, and I'll tell you what. Out of all the Connecticut blends out there, I probably smoke the most of these. I tell you what, I really like it. For whatever reason, it just does it for me.
Really?
I think it got a little bit of a kick to it. And the first thing in the morning with coffee, it's just awesome.
I'll tell you what, our largest seller on that is the 660. I never had that, but
the 660. I smoked the new 660, and I reviewed that last week or the week before. I thought it was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Not my favorite size by any stretch, but I say go for the 1118 size.
Mm-hmm.
Will?
So speaking of 1118, I smoked the Camacho Liberty 2013, which is actually they're not calling it an 1118 anymore, which I find a little interesting. But I guess there's reasons for that. I guess now they're moving away from the Christian Aurora era. So
right.
It's being sized at a 6 by 40 by 54 by 40. So it's still in that 1118 kind of figurado shape. The blend is a Habana 2000 wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and the trifecta of filler from Honduras, Nicaragua, and Dominican.
No more Cuban tobacco in these, right?
No more Cuban tobacco. Yeah.
You can't buy Cubans.
Well, they had pre-embargo Cuban tobacco in those Liberties.
Some of the very
John
early ones.
brought it over.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
All right. The price point is $17 on this thing, so it's not a cheap cigar. It comes in the coffin box. They've integrated some of the bold packaging on this.
They're up to 17 on these now.
Well, that's down his way.
Okay. Is it?
It's $15.99 up there.
$15.99.
Yeah.
That's still more expensive than
it
in
is.
the past.
I'm interested. I want to see what he says on this one.
Okay. Have you smoked it?
Yes.
Okay. This was. Here's what I thought. It was Davidoff-esque in a lot of ways. I'm not saying it was a Davidoff. It smoked more like a Davidoff than a Camacho. It had more of a earthy, grassy profile with some pepper. Didn't throw up a heck of a lot of sweetness on my book. The flavors were, I'd say, medium to full-bodied. I did find the cigar had some strengths to it. In fact, it was medium to full strength. And towards the end, the nicotine, I thought, really kicked up on it. The Liberties, I haven't had a Liberty in a few years that's really wowed me. This one didn't wow me. It's a try one. I don't think it's going to get better with age, in my opinion. I think it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But I think if folks like that Davidoff-esque profile with a little more amp to it, they may like this cigar.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm curious on your thoughts with that.
The nicotine, the strength is what caught me more than anything else on that one.
So okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And the grassiness was behind it. I just wasn't overwhelmed with it at all. I just wasn't.
You haven't been a big fan of the later released Camacho Liberties.
No, I haven't.
They
haven't been big. But
in fact, I've had one from the 2012 sitting in my humidor all year, and I haven't smoked it.
No. Well, could you do me a favor? I wanted to ask this again. The old age of Santa Stogie here is kicking it. So isn't the Pepe Van Winkle and everything else. With Matt, did he start off a Christian? Now he's going off to Davidoff. Did any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Did that also have some changing of the way he was looking at his blending in his cigars from the Christian era to the Davidoff era? Did any kind of you know what I'm saying? Did he have a different insight of what he wanted to do? Was that part of what, like you said, that the beginning? To be honest with you, I wasn't all that overwhelmed with the stuff that came out in the beginning. Where it is better now. I'm not saying it's different between Christian and Davidoff. That's not what I'm saying. Was there any mindset difference because of what was the different farms that he could use? What was available to him to blend? I'm just curious.
The answer I believe is yes, and here's where I know. When he came out with the Room 101 Connecticut, mm-hmm. he was leveraging the Davidoff Connecticut wrappers that they had. Mm-hmm. So he was able to, and he was able to bring in that Davidoff Connecticut wrapper, which worked real well. Mm-hmm. And I believe, he got away from those primarily Honduran blends, and he started incorporating some of these other tobaccos. But he was very keen, he told me, on the Connecticut with being able to get that Davidoff wrapper, because that's a very good Connecticut cigar, that Room 101 Connecticut. It doesn't get the love that I think a lot of the other ones. So
right.
That's about what I know to the extent of it. I haven't asked him that directly, other than I know he started to leverage that.
That's a good, because you can tell the difference in the taste. I mean, it's like night and day. It really is. It truly is with the Honduran tobacco. Anyway.
We got to give him credit. For him to kind of those first two blends. There are people who like them, but there was more negative feedback. He took a beating for a while, and it was really Namakubi that's what I was trying to talk to him in the interview. Yeah. Namakubi turned it around for him.
I like how I was trying to talk to him in the interview.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
No, he is. The guy, he's unique. He's fresh.
I love his personality. He's got a lot of character and personality.
Heart of gold.
Yeah.
And he's genuine.
I don't know him as well as you, but I mean, he's unique, and this is what you need in the industry, something different.
Yep.
Is it back to me, Will?
It's back to you.
Sure.
I just took. Yep.
All right. Let's see. Emilio Series H Maduro. And this is one that I actually smoked a cigar that Will had not reviewed, which is, we need to note those because it's a very rare occasion
right?
when that happens. This is from Emilio Cigars, and it's Hamastron? Hamastron?
Yeah.
Hamastron.
That's
Hamastron Ligero Maduro. It's a Honduran wrapper. The binder is Nicaraguan and Costa Rican, and the filler is Nicaraguan and Costa Rican. This is a Toro at 6.5 by 50. Would you call that a Toro? Roughly a Toro.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
This is a solid offering from Emilio. this dark Ligero wrapper not only looks great, but it tastes great too. I think a lot of the flavor from this cigar is really coming off this wrapper. However, I was not expecting the floral notes that came off this smoke. Now,
Wow.
I do have to say, Stogies on the Rocks is a cigar review site that puts the flavor wheel on their
I love
site,
that. I
which
love
is,
what they do
I
with
love that, and I think it's a very bold move by them because I couldn't put a flavor wheel on every cigar that I reviewed, certainly. So props to them for doing that. So that kind of played in the back of my mind, and I was like, floral notes. I'm like, I get that. And I think it's the Costa Rican tobacco, that's giving you those that's giving you those floral notes, which I really enjoyed when it was balanced with some of those earthier flavors that I think you get off of that Honduran wrapper. So it was a good balanced cigar, and I think that those tobaccos worked really well together. It didn't, totally knock my socks off. It was a solid fiver in my book, and I enjoyed the balanced flavor profile.
It's funny you said about the Costa Rican. It was almost like we go back to what we're talking about, that the gold that we did. I got almost like a green tea flavor off that.
Yeah.
That's what I got. And it's really, and Costa Rican, a lot of people are using that. A lot of people.
Yeah, that the Crossier was using it too.
Yeah. It's really, it's a nice flavor. It really is. But there's something I want to shout out to. Is a very dear friend of mine just launched is 1 in 13 cigars. It's going to be hitting the market very soon.
Oh, Steve.
Yep, and that's someone he's been very, very busy man. That's something we got to do on the show. But
absolutely,
yep, that's something that's hitting the market. And I'm telling you, I did the Maduro and I did the Sumatran, and I'll tell you what, the Sumatran was. I was surprised with that. The Maduro is better. I agree in my assessment, but that Sumatra is a sleeper. It really is. With time, I think, and he did some tweaking with it too.
You notice that Sumatra has been kind of the wrapper this year that's made the splash quietly. Last year it was Ecuadorian Habano. The year before it was Ecuadorian Connecticut. This year it seems like it's that Sumatra wrapper.
Yeah.
A lot of releases, and it just quietly has not been talked about, but there's a lot, and there's some good releases coming out with those Sumatras.
And a Sumatra what's nice about that, you can get some nice subtle spice without knocking you out. You know what I'm saying? I love Sumatra. I really do.
And it ages so well.
Oh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's when Steve was kind enough to send some up to me. And like I said, I don't know how old that cigar was at the time. And I just know with time that cigar is going to be. I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised how that cigar is going to turn out.
Well, back to you.
All right. I smoked the Christoph Galerones Sentido.
Yes.
In the Toro. So this is part of the 4 new blends that Glenn Case of Christoph released in the. It's called the Galerones series. I talked about one of them last week, the DR4. So Glenn has changed up the packaging. He's using different tobaccos that he hasn't used before, and he's working with the PDR Cigars factory to make it. We talked a little about that last week.
Right.
You notice it's a PDR cigar because he's using a Brazilian Cubra wrapper. And anytime you hear about that Cubra wrapper, it's PDR.
Right.
Abe Flores has the market on that. So he's got that Brazilian wrapper with a Nicaraguan Cuban seed binder. And he's got Cuban seed fillers of Nicaraguan, Dominican, and more Brazilian in there. This cigar smoked like no other Cubra I've had in terms of the flavors it gave. It had natural tobacco, some white pepper. It had a little bit of raisin sweetness, and it had a little bit of graham cracker kind of texture to it almost. It's not a strong cigar. It's a medium, what I call medium strength, medium body, and you want to say medium flavor. Construction was excellent. This is a real flavorful cigar that you can really give to any enthusiast, have it any time of the day. Box split in my book. Glenn's done great with this line. I'm really impressed with what Glenn has done this year, what he's been able to work with at that PDR Cigars factory. He's doing a good job.
We featured his cigars this Monday night at a local establishment, and I'll tell you what, the Intensivo and that cigar, both of them, I enjoy immensely. I can't agree with you. I mean, I wouldn't say he took heat, but to go back to the drawing board and to redo, I can't agree with you more, Coop. It's a great assessment. It really, truly is. they're both great cigars.
Yeah, and I haven't smoked the Intensivo yet. I've smoked the DR4 and the Sentido, and what I'm seeing so far is that Glenn's previous releases were more niche.
Yep.
You know, these are going to be much more widely appealing. And I'll say this: it's some of the better cigars coming out of PDR cigars. These are some good cigars he's got coming out.
No,
So
absolutely.
it's something to really keep an eye on.
Right, and like the Intensivo, a lot of people they're saying, well, it's really. Is there some strength behind it? Oh, absolutely. But the flavor is off. I really good. Very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's such a great guy too, Glenn.
Oh.
Very easy guy to talk to. He's been very kind to me.
Yep, and
Yeah.
like I said, we're working. He's more than willing to come on the show, so we're going to make that happen.
I can't wait.
Coop, Adam in the chat is asking about the EPC Cobra short run. That's a CI exclusive. You know
there's a CI exclusive of the short run, but I thought it was the 2010 blend. It was off the 2010 blend.
Okay. Is he getting that wrapper from Abe, he asks?
That I don't know. I'd have to do some. Yeah. I didn't know it was a Cobra wrapper. I thought it was a Sumatra wrapper, and I may just not. I probably don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It's something we can look up certainly. And I'm curious on that if he is getting that wrapper. But there is a CI version I think of the 2010 short run.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brandon wants to make sure that we say that he mentioned that first.
Brandon?
Yeah. That's what Brandon said.
Okay.
So sorry, I didn't see that, Brandon. So the 4 Kicks Limitada Mule Kick.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about this a while back. It's been a year since the cigar was released, and a lot has been written about this cigar. We're talking about cigars that have been reviewed a lot. Google search for 4 Kicks Mule Kick review. There's almost 2 pages of Google search results. Almost every single one of those entries, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, are unique reviews of this cigar. So it's a year old, and I think it's really coming into its own. It's really, really smooth, has still a good amount of strength. It just poured sweetness. I mean, right down to the nub. I was smoking this thing, and it was just pouring sweetness. A molasses with a touch of coffee, espresso flavor. I loved it, and I would fight Chuck Norris for them. Mm-hmm. And my only complaint is I wish they had more. Mm-hmm. So
I don't want to get too far. This will be a segment for another time. I think it'd be interesting. How many people, cigar smokers, actually put down a cigar that long? Doesn't matter what make. I don't care if it's Opus, Padron, what you're talking about.
Well, and here's the thing. It's a great question, Stogie Santa.
Yeah.
Because you guys talked about it on the show a lot. So many other blogs and podcasts were talking about it. I put it down and I let it rest. And I said, you know what? I mean, so much has been written about this cigar. I really don't have any much more to add. Mm-hmm. So I'll put it down. And I kind of forgot about it for a year. And then I looked at it and I said, I haven't heard or seen anyone talking about this cigar in a really long time.
Right.
So I'm going to smoke it now and give my assessment maybe a year later. So that means it's a unique strategy to people that enter in cigar media. But
things change so.
They change so much in a year, right? And I thought it was kind of a good time to review the cigar, and it looked just gorgeous sitting in the tray.
It was funny you said that to me. I got one left of that. I truly mean one left of that because we got that.
I only got one of these cigars. Yeah,
because what happens is that you don't plan on keeping for a year, but when your collection builds up, you have that unique situation where you can do that.
Yes,
where you can say to yourself, like, people, well, this needs time. And sometimes inadvertently, just like you said, I'm smoking this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and all of a sudden you go back to that. And you said, "My God!" But a lot of people, it's funny at the store. They'll look at me
talking and chatting. My cigar went out. Okay,
and they said, "How do you do that?" And it's the customer made sense. Like, how can you do that? But once you start smoking vintage cigars, I think that you more inclined to do it. At times, I do anyway, especially if you get something that you like, and then you buy a box or two. You put that one for smoking, and like I said, some people like that nicotine. A great point that Coop brought up with the animal cracker. when I smoked that, you knew the nicotine eventually was going to calm down on that. And but some people like that nicotine right off the bat. And Steve Sack is one of them. I talked to Steve about that. He says like he doesn't want that. He wants that right up front. He wants that nicotine flavor. So everyone's different. Anyway.
Absolutely. Will, back to you.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the question we got on the short run Cubra, and I did look it up, and I got to admit, this is a cigar. I hadn't heard of this one, but it is a cigar from Cigar International called the Short Run Cubra. I don't know if he's getting that wrapper from PDR or not. Now, what I do know is that PDR has got the hold of that. Does that mean he's the only guy who's got it? I don't know. But, yeah, there is a Cubra wrapper being used on a short run, and it's a CI exclusive by EPC. It's an EPC exclusive for CI.
Mm-hmm. Good work, Coop.
Okay, so thanks for that question. That was a very good question.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So my final cigar of the week was the Ora Vivo Armand Asante cigar. So this is a cigar that was worked on by Victor Vital of Legacy Brands, and he actually was able to connect with Armand Asante, who was looking to get into the cigar business. And I didn't talk to Armand at the show. He was at the trade show, and he was at the booth the whole week. Mm-hmm. But he was getting slammed. But I talked with Victor, and Victor was telling me a really interesting story about this. Is that he was only going to do this cigar with Armand if Armand was involved with a lot of selecting the blend, kind of working on rolling the cigar out. So Armand actually just did an event up in New Jersey last week, even a cigar dinner. So he's been kind of getting into the fold here. But the cigar is a Nicaraguan Puro, and it's a 5x54, I'd say, big Robusto, a fatter Robusto there. This is an absolute classic cigar. If you were to picture Armand Asante smoking a cigar, this is probably the type of cigar he would smoke. It had a lot of Cuban-esque qualities to it. It had a lot of nut flavor. It had some natural tobacco and pepper. The flavors were real deep on this thing. So, I mean, they were heavier in your mouth. Probably that's the only thing that was not as Cuban-esque, although the taste was very Cuban-esque. It's a medium-strength cigar, so it's not going to overpower you. I really, really love this cigar. And I've had several of the sizes, but the Robusto is the one I would say that's the box worthy of there's some bigger sizes, but this Robusto was the best of the three. Box worthy. If you're looking for a very classic old school smoke, check this one out. It's a good one. The price point is at $9.49. I saw that two guys has them. There's no one by me who has them because the way Victor Vital cigars work, it's by appointed merchants, so we don't have any down here in Charlotte. But I encourage you to check this cigar. I think you guys will be real surprised with it.
Excellent. Stogies Santa, was there anything else you had on your list worth mentioning?
Nope.
Alrighty. Wow. So the next one on my list, we're going big, boys. This is the La Aurora 100 Años Maduro Robusto.
Terrible cigar.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him.
If
Send him to Stogies Santa.
This carries a high price tag with its Connecticut broadleaf wrapper and Dominican binder and filler. We've talked about this cigar before. Only 7,000 cigars were made as part of a 2012 re-release to the line. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is not a 2013 cigar.
No,
this is a 2012.
That's what Mark. I don't know if Coop said
Mark
that.
Jr. was saying.
I said no. It's not a.
It was an end of the year release.
Yeah, it was an end of the year. You're right. Yes. I got this was actually that information comes from CigarFederation.com. Someone posted a review of the cigar, a very favorable review. And let me just come right out and say it. This is one of the best and most flavorful cigars to ever hit the market. I mean, you pretty much know where it's going to go from here, right? All kinds of flavor, complexity, awesome burn, the right amount of smoke, spice, all those wonderful things. It pairs well. You could drink this with coffee or whatever favorite drink you like to have with your cigars. It has a home in my humidor, even if I had to kick out some Padrones. That's how much I like this cigar.
Agree. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So my only complaint is how limited they are, and I only hope that the re-release that is rumored for this cigar is the exact same cigar.
And that's Nestor mentioned that. It was at
Now-
the store.
This
Yeah,
is an
no,
Oasis. I rated this an
I
Oasis.
mentioned it too on the show.
Yep, Oasis in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So
This cigar is just it's a landmark cigar.
Really, and
Yeah.
the way you get them is it's a package deal when you buy the Chen Años.
as a retailer, as a retailer, that's a
I'm
good
not going to get to the
point
pricing
of view,
it,
but
but it
don't get
is.
into the pricing. But you have to explain how you get this box.
Well, you get the this year the release was I believe the Robusto, Churchill, and what was it? Was
Torpedo.
The third Torpedo, right? There was
Yep.
no Lancero, so there
so
was
there's 3 sizes
100 cigars
of the regular Cien Años
which
wrapper.
wasn't nothing to shake.
No,
stick at.
those are really good too.
But what happened was that when they came out, when you got the box, everyone bought their Maduros.
Yeah,
They were gone one day. Not even, maybe 6 hours,
yeah.
8 hours, tops. So, I mean, the Chen Años, don't get me wrong, they're a phenomenal cigar. When people got that, they went crazy. And when Nesta come in the store, and we're going to redo it, we're going to do it, when, and like super top secret type thing. And I don't know how I just don't know. I just don't know how and when.
It's an unbelievable cigar.
Oh, it really is.
It's one for the ages. Is the best way to put it. And I don't know if we have a category beyond Oasis. I don't know if we have a Hall of Fame cigars, but this is the level I'm talking about.
I think the best way, I'll throw a Padron out to put it in your humidor.
Yeah,
What's that tell you that?
exactly.
What more could you say?
Exactly.
I would.
Me too.
I would.
You have to. I throw a Cuban, I throw everything out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about it. It's not even a thought.
It doesn't get much more of a higher rating in our ranking systems than that, folks.
Let's put this. It's as a butt plug cigar. How's
It's a
It's a cigar that I think a company. I mean, in Lauror's made some legendary cigars. That's. I don't know if they're going to be able to top it.
I just you say that it's like everything else. You just never know.
You never know, but that's landmark cigar.
Yep.
Will, back to you.
I'm done.
So I smoked a Zeno. Let me switch my camera back. Zeno Platinum Z-Class Toro.
I had that in a while. I haven't had those in a couple of years.
I like this Platinum Z-Class.
Yeah.
I know the Stogies is not a big fan. It's a Dominican wrapper. It's a Peruvian Pelo de Oro Visas binder. The filler is Honduran and Nicaraguan Jalapa Especial Esteli, Cuban seed, and San Vincent Ligeros. MSRP is around $10 to $12 for this particular smoke. And this is the 654-T Toro. It's a 5.9 by 54. This was a great cigar with coffee in the morning. Hands down. I got a slight herbal note. It's not that we say grassy, right? I think we need to separate herbal from grassy. I like that herbal flavor profile in the morning with coffee as a nice change up. I'm saying split a box with a friend on these. That's how much I liked this particular Vitola, even more so than the different sizes. The Toro really works well in this blend. It's a great diversion from what I think we smoke and what I think a lot of our listeners smoke. It's a great diversion from that, right? It's not something you maybe it's not something you maybe smoke on a very regular basis. In the morning with coffee, it's not in your face and gives you a great smoking experience. Now, it carries a high price tag, but in my opinion, it's worth it because what you get with that is a great burn draw and construction. You're not going to have any problems with these cigars because believe me, if I can find problems in cigars, it will be me that finds the problem in cigars. So
it'll find you.
Yeah, or it'll find me,
find
right?
you.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 box split, in my opinion. Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, Paul, they made a Perfecto in that line too that was very good in my book. Yeah.
So, I mean, seek them out. Might not be something you reach for on a regular basis, right?
Have you guys smoked at all the New York, the Zeno make of New York? They came out with a Perfecto too. That was an entertaining smoke to quote Seth from Seth Humidor. And some interesting flavors out of that.
I want to transition now Do we want to take a break and come back, or
Let's go right into
we're going to
it.
go right into it. We're going to get through this quick. It's getting late. This segment is, I posed a question, and I answered the question, and I sent it to everyone on the Stogie Geeks crew. What cigar cutters and lighters do you carry with you every day? I'll get us started. I carry a triple flame and a single flame and a paleo or Zycar cutter with me at all times. The triple flame I carry is typically between $10 and $15, and the single flame is around the same price range. They're both plastic, and they're both clear so that I can see how much fluid is left in them before I leave the house. They get abused, lost, broken, whatever. At $10 or $15, I replace them. Usually they'll last a year or more. I can't stand it when I leave them at home and head out. When I go somewhere to smoke, I like to have my own cutters and lighters, especially my own lighter to sit with me so I can touch up as I go. And that's why I carry the single flame. The triple flame is what I use to toast the foot and initially light the cigar. Clear, for me, is important. So the plastic is important because it's not going to get scratched up as it sits in my pocket or thrown around when I'm going from place to place. Clear is important because when I leave the house, I need to be able to easily see if I have enough fluid left in my lighter. So that's kind of strategic on my part. I can look and see if I need to refill it before I go out. I can just look and see if that needs to be done and not have to guess about it. As far as cutters go, I do keep a Zycar on the keychain, the little multi-tool Zycar thing. I keep one of those in the keychain. Those are great. Probably my preference for cutter has to be a paleo. I've used quite a few different cutters. Paleo is a great cutter. It's kind of expensive to carry with you, but I think it does a fantastic job, and it is pretty durable to be able to keep in your pocket. But again, if I leave my cutter at home, it's not a big deal because before you light up a cigar, you cut it once and then you're done. A lighter, I find you might have to use multiple times to touch it up or relight as you go through, so you want one of those with you. So that's what I carry with me. And again, it may seem kind of weird to carry both a triple flame and a single flame. I tend to carry both. I thought it was a kind of alone in the cigar geek category, and Coop's like, no, I do the same thing.
I couldn't believe when you wrote that. I carry a triple and a single as well.
Yeah.
No, mine's always a single.
Yeah, and carrying just a single is fine, too, if you want to just carry one.
It's just a preference.
It's better on fluid. I think a single flame is better on fluid.
It's not so
good
much
for touch-ups.
Right, it's great for touch-ups. I just like, depending if I told it size you're smoking, mine's always a smaller cigar.
I was going to say, you smoke mostly smaller ring gauge size cigars, so a single is fine.
A single's fine with me. And then for cutting, when I was mentioned to Paul before the show, if I get a mild to medium cigar, I like to punch it.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I just like to change up the flavor a little bit.
Great
You know what I mean? I just really do it. It just it's not going to make it a stronger cigar.
No, it intensifies the flavor.
It just gives me whatever flavor I can pull off that cigar. I'll do that. So mine is probably like 75 to 80%. Same thing, paleo cutter, but I like having the punch. I really do.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel on that anyway.
So before I go into what I carry when I travel, what do you carry with you as far as single, triple flame cutter?
So I usually carry my my Zycar guillotine. My video for? I carry my Zycar guillotine.
Let me switch to you. Yep. Yeah, I have one of the same ones. Yep.
Zycar. I carry stuff where I worry I don't have to if I'm going to lose it or not.
Yeah.
But I want something of good quality. And my paleo, I'm more worried about losing that, so I tend to keep that at home. I love these Zippos inserts. I love them.
Okay, yeah.
They last. They're durable. And it doesn't help when you have a dad who's a Zippo collector. So if I lose my Zippo case, my dad literally collects Zippos and has a case in his basement up in Brooklyn. So I mean, again, these little things, they work great. I mean, they last 2 to 3 years. I never have issues with these things, and it's just real easy to work with. And then I carry a Zycar triple flame because I kind of like having the triple flame if I'm going for a Toro size cigar, above in the 50s. And it's the analness in me, the Stogie geek in me, where, well, what if I run out of fuel with my lighter?
Yes, that's why I carry two.
I got another one, but so at least this is very small. I could just throw it in my bag and real easy to carry. So I tend to only carry one cutter with me, but that's just because my pockets are getting too full.
Right.
Now, when I travel, my kit changes significantly, and I'm going to err on the side of caution here. I bring a box or two of long wooden matches with me. And if you got those here. So I don't remember what I got. These are Upman branded matches, but they're the longer ones. These are great for travel. The longer match allows you more time to light the cigar, obviously. So I'll carry those with me, and I carry a cheap plastic cutter. Whatever was free, whatever
Yep.
was a giveaway kind of thing. And I try to change those out every once in a while when I travel, because you use one of those cheap plastic cutters a couple times, they turn into
dull.
a shredder.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
dull really fast. So I'll use one when I travel, then I'll basically throw it away, and I'll go get a bunch more plastic ones, and I'll kind of keep those rotating, so I basically have a fairly new one whenever I travel. Lately, I've been carrying a Bic lighter with me when I travel, because that's what you can carry on the plane. You cannot carry, even in your travel, not your carry-on, not your checked baggage, you cannot carry a butane torch lighter. So matches in Bic is really what I travel, and that's not my preferred way to light a cigar. But when you're traveling, if you need to make a touch-up or light your cigar, and you don't want to wait for the waitress or whatever to, or your friend to borrow or whatever, or you're sitting outside at the hotel, right? When you travel, a lot of times sitting outside in the hotel doesn't have, they might have matches, maybe. They don't have a butane torch
the
lighter.
matches, they got this.
The big
cedar and the sulfur on that is totally different.
Yeah.
Those little paper cardboard.
No, you don't want to do it. You want to do a good wooden match. If you ask your local cigar shop if they got the long wooden matches. Typically, cigar manufacturers will provide those, or a cigar shop will have these. You might have to buy them for $5 for $1 or whatever. Get some of those. Ask your local cigar shop to get some for you. Again, your butane torch lighters will be confiscated if you're unlucky. Some people will buy an inexpensive butane torch lighter and put it in their check bags and roll the dice. That's fine too. They make what's supposed to be approved travel cases, the yellow screw-on things. But there's some debate online as to what some people have gotten those confiscated.
Those get confiscated.
Yeah,
also.
and those are like $30 or $40
right.
from one of those.
Just do a Bic and your stick lighters.
No, I don't. I don't travel with an expensive cigar cutter either, because you run the risk of it getting confiscated as well by our crackpot TSA agents, or especially if you're traveling internationally, you don't want to get one of those taken.
It's very important and keep your cutter blades clean.
Absolutely. Good point.
You really, especially, and I mention that because, and I'll put a little alcohol on it. Sometimes with those cheap ones, if I know I'm just running short on them, I'll keep them clean just until I can hoard some more, so to speak. But on my regular ones, I tell you what, you want to keep your cutters clean. There's film that gets on them very easy, and it will affect the cut you get. So I'm anal about keeping my blades squeaky clean.
Good point. Alrighty. I want to go through some contests. We got 3 to go through, and I want to announce the winners of 3 contests and announce our new contest.
Yep.
Episode 66 was the Barry Stein episode. And Will, your video's frozen, by the way. Episode 66 of the Stogie Geeks, Barry Stein was the guest. The question was, what car did Barry drive in when he drove to Florida? He drove in a Cadillac. And that question was correctly answered by randomly chosen winner, Malcolm Phillips. Malcolm has sent in some wonderful stories. Maybe
what
next.
A great listener.
Great guy. We love Malcolm.
Guy.
I was glad Malcolm was the winner of this contest. Malcolm P. wins the Añoranza sample pack with the special limited edition Corona inside of it. Malcolm will be reaching out to you for your mailing address that we'll be giving it to Barry, who will send you the sample pack. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your wonderful stories, and we will read more of those. We've read one of your stories on the show. We will come back and read more of those wonderful stories from Malcolm on the show.
Really passionate cigar enthusiast.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks, Malcolm, for listening. Episode 68. The question was, when did Jose Blanco first release his first cigar? When was his first cigar released? The answer is 1999, answered by listener Don. he wins, and I had to really listen. These next two, episode 68 and 69, I had to go back and really listen because Stogie Santa was a little intoxicated when he did these.
Yeah,
So Stogie Santa, you promised the winner of this one in episode 68 to listener Don, the Stogie Santa Epic Prize Pack, which will consist of a Juan Lopez Petite Corona and a Roma Craft Tobacco Aquitaine, Cro-Magnon, and Intemperance.
I'll send that out tomorrow.
Yes, we got to get Don's address. I don't have his full address, but we'll reach out to Don and get that. We're going to mail that to you.
And we got Paul's too. We do Paul's.
Yeah. So Paul, Jay Grotto's series contest was in episode 69 of the Stogie Geeks, and the question, of course, was where did the name Jay Grotto come from? It's of course the name of the smoking area at Paul's house, which correct. Gary correctly answered. Congratulations to Gary. And I had to listen really hard because this changed a couple times during the recording. I went back and listened to episode 69 and figured out that Gary, listener Gary, thank you for playing. You won a J. Grotto Reserve Lancero, a J. Grotto Reserva Corona Gorda, a J. Grotto Silk 6x60, and a J. Grotto Series 6x58 Gigante, and the yet-to-be-released petite size Grotto Reserve.
Get the Addy and we'll get that out.
Yeah, so Gary, thank you very much. You are the winner of our episode 69 contest of the J. Grotto line sampler. The new contest that we have, I'm very excited about this contest. This is great. I wanted to solicit more listener interaction and feedback, and this is how I chose to do it, and I think it's going to be epic. You, as a listener, to qualify for this contest, need to submit a 3-minute audio or video review of a cigar of your choosing. Keep it under 3 minutes. Tell us about the cigar, wrapper, binder, filler, origin, all that stuff, the flavors and smoking experience, and your Stogie Geeks rating. You can reference the Stogie Geeks website. You have to use our rating system to rate the cigar, whether it be a 1 for Lawn Mulch all the way up to Oasis. Send that audio or video to the show at stogiegeeks.com. We will pick a winner at random. The winner will have your review aired live on the Stogie Geek Show, and we will send the winner a sampler of 3 Oasis-rated cigars from the Stogie Geeks, which will consist of a Tatuaje Black Label Corona Gorda from 2013, a Paul Gamarian Reserva Exclusiva Corona from 2004, and a Padron 1964 Anniversary Pyramid Maduro. Again, submit a 3-minute audio or video review of a cigar using our rating system, explaining about the cigar, wrapper, binder, filler, your flavor experience. Submit it to the show at stogiegeeks.com. The random winner, you will be aired on the show and get Tatuaje Black Label Corona Gorda 2013, the Paul Gamarian Reserva Exclusiva Corona Gorda from 2004, and a Padron 1964 Anniversary Pyramid Maduro. That's an epic 3-pack.
Oh,
wow.
absolutely.
Yes. So we're incentivizing folks, and plus you get to have your audio and or video on the Stogie Geeks show.
There you go.
And I imagine if we get several good submissions, I will air the runners-up as well. But only one person will receive the Oasis sampler of 3 Oasis-rated cigars from the Stogie Geeks.
Yes.
Is my video that I did on the Paul Gamarian, can I retroactively
submit
that? Wow.
Stogie Geeks members do not qualify for any contest. Well, so nice try. Nice try, though.
But it wasn't 3 minutes, so okay, it was disqualified anyway.
Yeah, disqualified there. Yeah, and you're part of the Stogie Geeks, so you're immediately disqualified.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this edition of the Stogie Geeks Show. Thanks to everyone who listened live from Cigar Federation. Very nice to have all of you new listeners on. Thanks to Matt Booth.
Oh, yes.
World's most interesting interview. He was
I told you guys.
Very, very dynamic and interesting interview. Great segment we had there. And make sure you join the CRA, Cigar Rights of America.
So important.
Right. Very important, guys. Very, very important.
And it's not just for the free cigars. If you want to be able to smoke quality cigars at a decent price, you better join.
Thanks to everyone in the live stream chat room. We'll see everyone on the next episode of the Stogie Geeks, which will be happening next week.
We have a good guest next week, too.
Who's our guest next week?
Raphael Nodal.
Yes.
Raphael was in the shop. It was so funny. We were talking.
We're going to smoke the Aging Room Maduro and interview Raphael from Aging Room. So make sure you check out next week's show. 9 p.m. Thursdays. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of the Stogie Geek Show. Ciao.
All that is around you, we are part of. And all we want seems to block out what we need. Never enough to satisfy.